Hey, what's good? Welcome into the Counter Mentor podcast. We are so excited about our show today.
Hold up. You know this is live and it's on video, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
what
yeah,
in the heck are you wearing?
Oh man, is this the classic like old guy doesn't know what's cool and hip?
What's cool? You're wearing like a trucker hat backwards.
All right,
it looks like you haven't shaved in a month.
All right, time out. For those of you listening on the pod, I'm in a very on-trend striped bold Henley, which has fall written all over it. Got the trucker hat on. You're repping some Patagonia today. And no, I have not shaved because it's No Shave November.
Okay,
all right. This is the millennial uniform in fall.
All right,
where have you been?
For boomers that are listening on the pod, he got up 20 minutes ago and threw on a hat because his hair looks like crap. All right. Hey, we're going to talk about 140 characters. We'll do that on the other side.
Yeah, thanks. Great open.
This is Counter Mentors with Kelly and Robby Riggs. Finally, a place where you can get both perspectives on challenges in the workplace from a boomer and a millennial. The Counter Mentor is the new leader. Join us as we show you how to blend the very best of both generations, young and old. This is Counter Mentors, and here are your hosts, Kelly and Robby Riggs.
All right, welcome back into the Counter Mentor podcast. Before I was rudely interrupted and absolutely diverted from trying to open the show.
Oh my gosh, you look awful. Holy smokes, I can't even focus.
So the Pops has really been working on encouragement, as you can tell.
Welcome
into episode number 36. Pops, 36 episodes, man.
Hey.
I hopefully we have 36 people listening today. Welcome to episode number 36. Why 140 characters is killing your workplace, it's killing your office. LOL. We're gonna get into all of the different modes of communication today. We're super excited. Hey, make sure a lot of you are already listening to this on the podcast. You've already downloaded it. You listen to it on your commute. You listen to it on the plane, on the train, wherever you do it. Thank you for joining us. If you listen to the pod and you enjoy it, which I know you enjoy me, go in and rate and review us on iTunes. Tell us how great I am, how wonderful I'm doing, how I do deserve a trophy. And if you need to mention the Pops, make fun of his hat.
Do we need to take up a collection and buy you a real hat?
Oh,
was that given to you at a convention for John Deere tractor dealers or what?
Hey, big shout out to our friends at Jackson Hole for hooking me up with this hat. Anyway, check us out on our website, countermentors.com. Hey, come watch the pod. If you normally listen, go to our website, navigate to the episodes page, and give it a watch. We have fun. And I think it's so much more dynamic, Pops, whenever we're live and in video.
Absolutely. So and by the way, you want to follow me on Twitter at Kelly Riggs and at Counter Mentors. Absolutely. You don't want to follow Robby. His stuff is worthless. All right.
If you care about what's going on in the world, follow me. If you don't care about anything
nobody
else,
cares about the Kardashians, Robby. They just don't. Okay. This is a business podcast. They do not care about that stuff.
Well, if you care about Boston sports teams or the Oklahoma Sooners, follow me on Twitter.
That is true. Speaking of which, Boomer, really big win over the weekend.
So we're filming this on a Monday. This is going to come out, I think, in a week, Pops.
Right.
Or two weeks or something. Anyway, but our Sooners, number 5 in the college football playoff, just came off a huge win at Bedlam, little brother. What are we, like 86-14? It's not even a rivalry. Like, I don't even know why people build it up as a rivalry.
Man, don't do that because OSU fans already hate OU fans, and
all
you are is fuel for the fire.
That's right.
But we'll probably move up to number 3. We're excited. We can't play defense, but we are exciting on offense. Hashtag
Baker for Heisman. Come on.
Yes, absolutely right.
Yes.
Hey, listen, today we're going to talk about communication in the workplace and how text has really influenced that whole process. And man, we ran across some really interesting stuff. There's a particular survey that was done by Gallup, some research that was done. Americans spend 26 minutes a day texting and send 5.3 more texts than the number of calls that they make. Now, think about that.
Yeah.
If you're texting 5 times as much as you are actually doing phone calls, it means you're doing most of your communication with words on a page that are typically abbreviated or hyphenated or whatever. And so people never really get the clear understanding, which might be okay if they were only using it for like information purposes, but people do a lot of conflict on text, which is just shocker.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I think the first big thing people need to understand, again, this was from a Gallup survey, over 1,000 people. But I think just practically, Pops, our experience I want to bring in here as well, is that it's so important to understand that texting, Twitter, etc., those have become Snap, Facebook Messenger, right? All these are in the same category.
InstaChat.
Right. Anyway, these have become a normal mode of communication in the workplace. Remember, millennials are now the largest demographic in the workplace, meaning that they're bringing in their habits and their things.
Which means the apocalypse is just around the corner.
And ignoring you. And so you need to understand, first and foremost, that this movement towards texting and really back to a very I guess simple, easy way of communicating has brought in a whole new set of challenges.
Well,
but
allegedly,
I think first
right?
thing, we need to understand first and foremost that this is the desired way of doing communication. So I think that's going to be a big part of what we talk about today, Pops, is this is a real thing you need to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Texting is the real deal now. I've noticed just in the past, less than 2 years easily, but everything has migrated hard to text.
Right.
And, people used to do email, and a lot of people got away from it, although it's still pervasive in the workplace as the, mode of choice, and it's practically worthless most of the time. But when you're really trying to connect individually, people have gone to texting, and people know, look, if you really want to get a hold of me, like, I will never take your call ever, but I will look down and read your text. But the problem is, although texts aren't technically limited to 140 characters, they're typically written that way.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And so you just miss so much. And people in their desire to really become more efficient in communication, what we've learned is they're not doing anything of the sort.
No, it's exactly right. And it's so interesting that a platform like Twitter, a social media platform, is actually shaped and molded the way we communicate via text. Isn't that interesting? I mean, it's actually seeped into our DNA for most boomers who have never even been on Twitter, but they have shaped that because they've watched and learned from typically their millennial children, and now they're millennials in the workplace, of how to do texting the right way. And it's so funny when you're texting with especially someone who's older, and they give you these novels via text, and it's like, clearly you were doing voice to text that entire time and none of that made sense. Like, that's not the point of a text. It's supposed to be quick and to the point.
Okay, you're not supposed to call out your mom on our show. You're not supposed to do that.
Oh, Nona does. She's amazing with text. All right, she is
the voice to text.
That's
queen.
Right. And Bitmojis, and she's figuring out the emoji thing, and it's a problem. It's a very real problem. But I do think it's fascinating that social media has actually driven the behavior of the millennial. Now millennials and digital natives are driving the behavior of boomers and X's because they're seeing how we operate on the text machine, which is super interesting.
And listen, all being very serious, I think this is one of the places where that influence has not gone that well. Even though the influence is heavy, I don't think it's necessarily a positive for the workplace in any sense, because rarely a week goes by that I'm not having a conversation with an executive or a VP or somebody who's saying, look at this. I mean, I don't even know what that says. Yeah. And you go track somebody down and have them explain it, and what they wrote is not anywhere near what they meant. Yeah. And so you're creating this big time problem where we're having to catch up with each other. We migrate from a text. Now we're going to validate, verify it with an email, and that didn't work as well. So we wind up in a meting. Yeah. And it's got its own problem.
Yeah. That's interesting. I actually haven't had that experience. My experience with seeing this in the workplace is, we're big, Pops, on setting expectations. We talk about that a lot on this show. We talk about it with our clients regularly. It's big shout out for Counter Mentor Leadership, the book. Go buy it on Amazon. It's in there a lot. And one of the things that we always talk about is setting your communication expectations. And to your point, phone call, most important, second is text. So what I've seen is that it's a lot of, hey, this is happening, just quick updates via phone, not trying to handle conflict over text, which I think is super interesting that that's something you've seen a lot of, because it's not something I've seen a ton of. So even that dynamic I think is interesting. Is that because you're working with a different type of executive than I am? That in and of itself is interesting.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't see a lot of conflict resolution on text. I do see little snippets that cause conflict or are part of the reason it continues. But most executives, rather than sitting down face-to-face across from someone and doing performance management effectively and well, they tend to fire off emails for one reason. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier from
email. Email, absolutely.
But
totally
I tell you what I have seen. I've seen emails begin to look like text. People abbreviate everything. They don't.
And by the way, that's not just a millennial thing.
Oh, no.
So don't even try to throw that on millennials.
No. Listen, we haven't been educating people to write well in a very, very long time. It certainly is not limited to.
But I'm throwing a flag on that. These kids still go to school. They still go to college. They still go to high school. They take English. Why is this a problem? I mean, is this a societal failure, or is this they're just in their minds it's about text? Because Pops, they know what adjectives and adverbs and nouns are.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Stop it.
No.
Get out of here.
Hey,
they still go to English class.
Listen, you're living in a dream world.
Come on.
Listen, I deal with clients every single day that their people cannot write.
Okay, maybe they don't show it, but they know how.
No, they don't.
Get
they don't.
Out of here.
Hey, listen, I'll give you a really good example.
Good
example. Engineering client, someone who is a senior engineer. I've seen this individual's emails. They are embarrassing. I mean, they're embarrassing. Now,
but that's because they're not focused on it. That's not their skill. They're an introvert. They're an engineer. They don't worry about the touchy-feely making you feel good. They know how to do it.
Really? So why is it that all the surveys and all the data out there says that the single biggest job that the large companies have to embark on today is to educate their people in basic reading, writing, and math skills?
No, get out of here. Show me the read. No, come on. Hey, if you're listening to the show, tweet me at Robbie Riggs.
And tell him how stupid and wrong he is because
season.
He's not
I'm
listening.
Wearing the fall attire, and it's another season that I'm going to beat the Pops up.
Hey,
I mean,
that's
what's going to happen.
Clearly, not only did you just get up, you didn't take a shower and clean out your ears. You are not listening.
Get out of here. Get out. All right.
We're going to do a show, and we're going to validate all of this data. I wish I had it in front of me right now. I don't.
Way. Look, people know my assertion is this is where we fundamentally disagree.
Totally wrong.
I believe that
Not
people
even close.
know how to do it. They went to grammar school just like you did, old man.
No,
now, the difference is they got to use an
school.
iPad and an iPhone. Anyway, they know how to do it, but it's not a priority because they're not held accountable to it.
I'm not suggesting to you that there aren't people that don't know how. I'm suggesting to I am.
You don't even know what you're saying.
I'm saying explicitly.
He needs his medication.
Listen to me. I'm saying explicitly. A vast majority of people cannot write at all. They are bad at it. Really bad.
No, because they don't put it in the time. They know how. They know what subjects and verbs. Get out of here. Get it. All right. From this article, we totally digress. The Pops, no way. But here is something interesting.
I am going to enjoy so much.
43%
sticking
of
this
job
in your
seekers,
ear. I am going to enjoy it.
That's totally inappropriate. 43% of job seekers under 45, they say that texting is a professional way for recruiters to communicate with talent.
That's because you people have lost all perspective. You millennials have no idea how to be professional.
Can we please not make one of these like old man ranting? Can we please just make this like objective, please?
Hang on. I'm going to fire off a text and tell people I'm ready to switch jobs.
Oh my gosh. This is so obnoxious. So here's what this really means.
So true.
I'm especially talking to you, to boomers. Know that because millennials are the one of their favorite and primary modes of communication is via text, it is not at all uncommon to text back and forth to the recruiter. So you need to ensure that your recruiters, especially your older recruiters, are savvy in the art of texting back and forth. Here's the reality. You're going to turn talent off if you cannot communicate in a way that they want to. There's a reason that Slack and IM and all these things in the workplace have become so big. It's because that's how people want to communicate in real time in bite-sized chunks because they have other stuff they want to do, which, by the way, is why in this same survey,
hang on,
takeaway.
Hang on. Don't go there yet. We'll get there in a minute. Let me give you a hot take. Robbie's actually right because all these kids always want to be communicated with by text because, these little snowflakes can't do anything else and they have to have it their way. But let me give you a hot take. I'm going to give you a hot take. Hot take.
So ridiculous.
When you go for the interview and the odds are greater than 85% the person you're going to interview with is a boomer, then you probably should learn how to speak in complete sentences, maintain eye contact, and have a conversation, not with your phone. Now, listen, tell me that's not true.
Hold on. Your hot take is that, and you just judged an entire generation and said that they don't know how to sit across from somebody and look them in the eye? Really? That's your hot take?
I don't know, call Simon Sinek and tell him he's wrong. I'm good with it. I know you're in a bromance with Simon Sinek. Go ahead. No, call it. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Say it out loud, but so I can have it on the record. All right.
Listen. We're not saying that Pops. That's not the point I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is recruiters need to not turn off talent. Of course, a millennial needs to look across the eye.
But the talent
tell the people something they don't know.
But the talent shouldn't turn off the boss they're interviewing with, too. Okay, now let's go to the one we actually agree on. All right. So this is again.
Try to go there before you're ridiculous.
Five facts about communication in the workplace. Again, based on a Gallup survey, 26% of employees think email is a major productivity
How is that
killer.
Only 26%?
I have no idea.
Have you ever talked to anyone in any
Millennials
job?
are slow on the uptake, but they'll get there.
No, it's not millennials. Are you freaking kidding me? It's the boomers that stay up till 2 a.m. sending out emails. Are the freaking problem.
I hate to agree with you, but you're right.
I mean, how is it only 26%? I mean, there's no way that number is less than 75%. I mean, I guess. Well, hold on. Let me think about this logically. If you're an entry-level employee and you're not getting a ton of email, I'm trying to think about numbers here. I mean, if an organization's a pyramid, it's really from about the middle of the pyramid.
If they're not getting a lot of email, just wait a couple of weeks. That will change.
No, seriously, yeah, right? I mean, wait for 2 years until you're a middle manager, and then you're just going to hate
2 years. Oh my gosh, they'll have 75 messages in their inbox in 3 months. I mean, every day, every day.
Yep,
just give them 3 months.
You're exactly right.
And why is that? Maybe that's why. What's the most egregious abuse of email?
There's a few. The single most is reply all, in my opinion.
Reply to all.
Reply all is the single most. But remember, most organizations, because of bad leadership, because of a lack of trust, what do, Pops? They CYA everything over email.
Absolutely.
And they copy the world. Right? We know this. So 26% Gallup, I would have thrown a flag on that survey and gone, who in the world did we just survey?
Yeah, what did that 26%? What did that question say, actually?
Come on. Yeah, that's absolute garbage.
So here's what we're trying to tell you if you're listening to this. Listen, communication is hard enough in the best of circumstances.
Yes.
Face to face, eyeball to eyeball.
Yep.
You're having a conversation with somebody. You can swing and miss completely, even when you're in that situation. Now,
and by the way, if you're married, you experience that on a daily basis.
No comment. I don't agree with that. I don't. I know that my wife watches this. I totally disagree. No, here and then so what do we? And so what do we do? So now we digress from face to face and we go to email and reply to all. Plug up everybody's email inbox.
Oh yeah,
and
by the way, behind email, aren't we? We roll our shoulders back, and oh man, yeah.
And we write novels. And listen, I still tell you, I don't care what age you are. The vast majority of people writing emails are not very good at it, and a big chunk of them are just flat out awful. And the whole texting, Twitter, 140 characters has just made it worse.
Way worse. And we expect people to read between the lines, or what we don't do is we don't think about how the other person is going to receive the email and translate it. I mean, Pops, we've seen these, whether it's from an executive or a low-level person, up to an executive, they'll say something. When you go and ask them, what in the world were you thinking? Like, what does this mean? And they're like, well, what are you talking about? And they explain it. You go, okay, that makes perfect sense. But you have to think about the receiver and how they're going to, oh my God. It just drives me nuts.
Here we go. Hot take number 2 from the Pops. Here's what I can tell you. Write this down, write it down and keep it. Put it on your desk. No one reads your email trying to understand what you're saying.
Never.
What they're doing is reading what you wrote and they're comparing it to what they thought about the same situation, and they're grabbing all the things that they disagree with.
Or they're applying it to a way which will be good for them, period. You're either for them or against them in that email. That's it. And if you're not very clearly for, then they will take it as against. They will roll their shoulders back and pretend they're 6'5", 280 and respond back and they're hammer texting or email or whatever, and it's not going to be good. Pops, that's a killer hot take. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were taking text right now during the show, which we don't, but if we were taking text, people would be screaming at us right now saying, then what is email for? Is it good for anything? Robby?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say yes, yes, and yes. Email is an outstanding one-way passive communication mode, medium, whatever word is correct there. My sister, Christina, if you're watching, PhD in English, is it mode or medium?
You have an MBA and you don't know this?
Yeah, I don't know that one. That's. I'll leave that to the PhDs.
I think it's the hat. I do.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. All right. So I believe that email is good for passive one-way communication when you are not trying to communicate some big, meaty topic that's very detailed not detailed, but very complex. But passive one-way, kind of an FYI type email, correct?
Yeah.
Or no. I believe
information.
Yes,
information.
it is also good for, in some very limited cases, when you're trying to broadly distribute an emotion. For example, if I'm a leader of a company and I need to do an FYI, it's not so important I need to get everybody on the phone or meet face-to-face town hall format, but I want to share a success or an excitement or recognize someone. It can be good for that passive one way, meaning you don't need to actively be involved in that communication. I think email is good for that. But here's the deal. We abuse and bastardize email. We don't use it the right way. And we know that. And it's
absolutely right. Well, shout out to somebody that I know, a company I've used, BombBomb.com, BOMB.com. How about you put video in your email, which you can do very easily. So, I mean, everybody knows that everything's moving to video. It's just not really convenient when you're texting. But in email, if you use BombBomb, very inexpensive, by the way, but you can actually send video so people can open up your video. Instead of reading your incredibly bad writing, they can actually see your emotion. They can hear some context. They can know what's going on. And I suspect there's a few others out there you can use.
So I got my hot take then. Those of you that know me, I know we have a lot of people on the show that know us well, have worked with us, etc. You've heard me rant about this, but I got to say it for the broader audience. If you are writing an email that's longer than 3 paragraphs, look at me in the camera. I need to communicate something to you. People don't read it.
What?
Okay, let that sink in. If you write an email that's more than 3 paragraphs, you know how long that looks on your phone? It looks about 12 paragraphs. Because, oh, by the way, Pop, I forget what the number is. 70-some-odd% of email of people in corporations read their phone over email. So 3 paragraphs, people don't read it.
Okay, hang on. Let me translate. I got to give the boomer version because boomers aren't here.
Translate.
All right, boomers. Little snowflakes can't read more than like 30 seconds and their head starts to hurt. Okay.
Okay. So that's just wrong. We know that boomers are actually the worst because they're too busy. They don't have time to read email. So don't even give me that crap. I'm totally cutting you off, interrupting you. That's complete garbage. So listen, I abide by what I call the 3-paragraph rule. This is my hot take. If you're writing an email over 3 paragraphs, here's what you need to do. Continue writing your email, and when you get to 5, 6, or 7 paragraphs, take your right hand and slap yourself in the face. You should never do that. Second thing you need to do, go to the top of that email, insert 3 bullets, and summarize what you just wrote. Okay? No, those can't be summary paragraphs or summary sentences. They're bullets. Short to the point. Here's what I need to know. Here's what's going to happen. Number 1, people will actually start reading your email because they'll see those 3 bullets and they'll go, I got it, move to a folder, or delete, depending on your audience. Or they'll say, oh crap, this is freaking important. And they'll actually read in detail and give you the time and energy to your email that you need to have.
Yeah, by the way,
use the 3-paragraph rule.
Yeah, that's such great insight. I mean, that's a phenomenal tip and trick. That's a pro tip right there. But
that's right.
Let me go ahead and clarify. When Robby says 3 paragraphs, he doesn't mean 3 17-inch paragraphs. I mean, let's get real here, all right?
A paragraph is greater than 3 sentences.
Yeah, 3 sentences, maybe 4, maybe 4 if you're getting there. Well, hey, listen, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is there's a lot of other really good stuff out there. I want to pull this other article up that was really great. And it's from your HBR boys. I mean, you're kind of an HBR guy.
I'm an HBR. Hold on. Actually, right here, sitting in the world headquarters here, I got one sitting on my desk.
Yeah, hang on.
Right here. Launching successful leaders. I haven't gotten into this one yet.
Except that it's still in the cellophane. So
some of us actually read HBR.
No, yours had cellophane.
So is today's show brought to you by BombBomb or HBR? We'll let them bid.
We'll let them fight it out over that sponsorship dollars. This is an article from earlier this year. Poor communication, in quotes, communication is often a symptom of a different problem. By the way, you can find all this at countermentors.com. Go to the show notes. You can click on these things. We'll even put a link to BombBomb there if you want to go check them out. And then maybe that way we can charge them some punitive sponsorship.
Lots of money, BombBomb. It's coming.
Right. So there's a lot of things in here that are really important. But one of the things I took away, Robby, was that when people feel like they don't quite understand what's going on, the first thing they want to do so that they can give put some meat on the bone, so to speak. So that, the problem is we just don't communicate well. And the reason I've jumped to that opinion is because I didn't know something, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't have done something wrong.
Right. So then what we do is, we get into another one of those endless, godforsaken meetings that never accomplish anything. And we schedule another one of those into time we don't have, so it overlaps with another meeting. And we get in and say, the problem is we don't communicate well, so here's what we need to do. We need better or more emails. We need more meetings.
Status updates.
Status updates. And now instead of simplifying things and improving our communication, we just clog up all the channels and make it that much more.
Pops, that's a perfect segue. Back in this Gallup study, one of the big takeaways, 46% of employees rarely or never leave a meeting knowing what they're supposed to do next.
Eesh.
You're freaking kidding me? It's an absolute disaster.
Hashmark insanity.
Hashmark?
Yeah, Hashmark.
What?
Isn't that what those are called?
Oh my gosh.
What are those called?
When you go all old man on me, here, all these years I've been working to make you hip and cool, and then you drop a Hashmark on me, and I start to think and question everything about myself.
The phone sign thing, the hash marks.
Gosh. Wow.
Here's what they said in Harvard Business Review is that what it means is when you ask someone about how they feel about the workplace, people can typically get to that fairly quickly. Yeah. They have a sense of whether they feel good or bad. But when asking them what's making them feel good or bad, they often sort of have to grope around for some rationale that could explain their feelings, and that makes it difficult. So when a company has a specific difficulty, I'm quoting now, people in the organization may point to the specific difficulty as the source of their negative feelings. When there are no ready-made concepts floating around, though, people seek out candidates. And that's where, quote-unquote, communication comes in, right? Yeah. So then they run around and they start saying, okay, how do we improve communication? Now, you and I are huge advocates of improving communication, but it is certainly not by sending more emails with carbon all,
Yeah, by the way, CC stands for carbon copy. That's a big shout out to my millennials and Gen Z that watch the show.
Do they ask you what that means?
Well, no, they no one's ever known. It's just CC just means you add people. Carbon copy. Anyway.
Wait a minute. Carbon copy. What? All us boomers know what mimeographs and carbon copies are. So
I actually heard a mimeograph joke the other day and thought about you. I was like, the old guy would appreciate this. No, this is a real problem. And we blame communication for things that really aren't true. But, look, with all respect to HBR, I mean, yes, you never have perfect information, which means you're never going to make the perfect decision because we always have imperfect information. But I do believe strongly that we have created an environment in the workplace of CYA, lack of trust, email everything, and then you layer in millennials want to communicate differently because this is so much more convenient, and we grew up communicating like this,
right?
That it makes people so uncomfortable. So you start to layer all these factors in, and Pops, this is the generational conflict and discord that equals conflict or poor results, depending on how you're looking at the organization. So here's what you need to understand. The behaviors of social media, the limitations of social media have shaped the communication habits of an entire generation that are now imposing their will, because they're the biggest and the baddest, imposing their will on the workforce.
Let me correct your weak English there. You're the most numerous.
Biggest and baddest. Greatest generation.
Biggest son is size. You have bigger numbers.
Baddest.
No.
Yeah.
Baddest.
Well,
actually, I would say
the biggest. That was a shout out to you. That was a Michael Jackson.
Actually, I would say
you know that one.
The worst.
Even when I try to use old
not
man,
the bad, not the baddest. Actually, the worst.
This is what you need to understand: is that it is actually the reality of the situation. So understanding that what the pros and cons are important. Now, what you need to do about it, you need to first and foremost understand that this is a challenge and creates this problem. But you need to go and invest time as you develop your younger employees. Help them understand that there are certain behaviors over email, text, phone, whatever, that are just fine, that the older generation needs to adapt to. But there's also LOL, TTYL, BRB that need to not be brought into email. CUL8R, right? That's not, you don't bring that into email in a professional work environment. Now, if you want to do that over IM or Slack, and fine, do your thing. But when you are reaching outside of our four walls, or you're inside our four walls, emailing up the ladder, you have to set expectations of what behavior is appropriate.
Robby Riggs with the final word. Hey,
come on.
Music says we got to get out of here. Do you think anybody noticed that we made it more contentious this time to illustrate how difficult communication is?
Well, hey, people are probably just going to be happy that we didn't bring up President Trump and Twitter. That's probably what they're doing.
Hey, that's going to do it. Episode 36. And it's been a lot of fun. 140 characters is bad for the workplace, LOL. Hey, we're going to see you next time. CounterMentors.com. Follow us at CounterMentors. We'll see you on our next show.
Be good.
Thanks for tuning into Counter Mentors with Kelly and Robby Riggs. For more information about the show, to listen to past shows, or to learn more about how Kelly and Robby teach companies the counter mentoring process, visit countermentors.com. The Counter Mentors Show is presented by One-on-One Media, Incorporated. All rights reserved. Opinions expressed by guests on the show may not be the opinions of One-on-One Media or the host of the Counter Mentor Show.